Welcome back, viewers. This is Oklahoma Bridges, and this is part 10 of the Westclox Big Loud Alarm Style 5A rebuild. And this is the final part, and this is the final assembly. And this should answer some questions, too, that are often had about getting the hands put on to where the alarm rings at the correct time. So first step is to put the hour wheel back on, and that completes the motion work and the rest of the movement. And I have only a few parts left over here. I've got 3 screws, 2 keys, a bezel, a dial, and 3 hands, and a glass. So made sure to wash the hands before doing this, because we're going to be doing dial work, and we do not want to soil the dial and everything. And because it's a luminous dial with radium paint, we're going to wash hands afterwards also. Take the dial and very carefully, this has 4 feet that fit into 4 holes on the front plate of the movement. And we're going to start by getting those lined up. Okay. Making sure they're all sitting down flat on the movement and being careful just to touch the dial by the edge. Now I've got the movement sitting on this little holder here, this little parts tray. And I've got something behind the setting knobs to help buck it a little bit. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to install the alarm set hand. And we're going to do that first by driving the hand on about the 12 o'clock position. And might not really need these pieces of paper, but sometimes it's nice to have those there. Okay. Usually I like to do this when the clock's not running. It just so happens the clock is running right now, so it just makes it a little bit more interesting. We're going to put this on with the hand pointing at 12 o'clock. Alright? And then we'll use the butt end. I usually like to use the butt end of a screwdriver to press it on, because the dome surface just presses in the middle of the hand and helps prevent it from being bent. And we'll go ahead and use one of these pieces of paper that I've made specifically for this purpose here to avoid scratching the dial. Drive it on. Pointing to 12 o'clock, okay? You're going to use some fairly firm pressure there to get it driven on all the way. And I might have to move this a little bit to where that key is over the buck. Alright, then check the hand. You see it's almost just slightly imperceptibly not flat, but that's very acceptable right there, that amount of bend in it. It's almost no bend at all. Okay, so that's set to 12 o'clock now, and I just did that arbitrarily. Now I'm going to turn it and set it to 6 o'clock as exactly as I can. Now, I'm going to turn the minute hand setting knob that's attached to the center arbor slowly until I hear the alarm click. And the nice thing about one of these clocks is you can cheat by looking down through there, and you can watch it. So you don't have to sit there and keep turning the knob slowly, waiting and waiting and waiting. But when you get close, turn it very slowly. Alright, right there. We're going to put a piece of card down. We're going to pick up the hour hand. And we're going to drive the hour hand on at 6 o'clock. And I use the smallest size chuck that fits to drive the hand on. Okay. And then check it. See, it's bent just a little bit. We can fix that here. By applying a little bit of corrective pressure in the direction that we want it to bend. It's still not quite parallel. Just apply a little bit more corrective pressure. Don't touch the dial. That's pretty close. So after we get the minute hand on, we'll fine adjust it. Now, I'm not working fast enough because, like I said, the clock is running. We'll have to fine adjust that just a little bit too. Since the clock's been running a little bit, I haven't been watching the time. What I'll do is when the alarm trips, set the hour hand to 6, put the minute hand at 3 minutes till. Then drive it on. Okay, just like that. Now what we need to do is rotate the hands and make sure that the alignment is correct, that they don't touch each other at any point, or they don't touch the dial at any point. Then we will touch up the adjustment of the hour hand so that it points directly at the hour when the minute hand is at 12. Here's the critical point. And I see that the alarm hand is going to catch on the hour hand just slightly, which tells me that the alarm hand needs to be driven on just a little bit further. So we'll turn the hands back to about there. Set this back in here like that. We're going to put some card down over that to help protect the dial in case we slip any. Don't want no slippage. And then very carefully push drive the the alarm hand on just a little further. And recheck. I may have driven the hour hand on a little too far, because I don't think don't think it was down that far originally. See, that got us a little bit of space there. It is going to touch on the oh, there's just a teeny tiny little bit of gap there, about the width of a piece of paper maybe. So the alarm hand needs to go down a little bit more. Okay. And I think I've had some other tools here lying around that might help out a little bit. If we have to, we can give it a little bit of a tap and see if that helps out. I was risking it there just a little bit. I did not put down anything on the dial to protect it there. Getting brave. Still just wanting to touch just a little bit. I think the solution is going to be to move the hour hand out a little bit. Since we need to do some adjusting on the hour hand, let's do that. Let's move the hour hand out just a very small amount. To do that, we'll put a card down. And very gently move the hour hand out just a little. Okay, and that got us the clearance that we need. See, there we are at 12 o'clock, and none of the hands are touching each other at all. Okay, so now what we're going to do is check and you can see the hour hand is off. Okay, it's not pointing at the 3. Now it's too far. Okay, now we're going to go to 9 o'clock. Okay, that's pretty good. Now we're going to pick a time at random on the dial. Let's just do 10 o'clock. Set the hour hand, the alarm hand at 10. Okay, it went off a bit earlier than I would have liked for it to, but if you look at the alarm hand, it's not quite centered on that marker. It's a little early on the marker, so I like that. Let's try another time. Let's do 1 o'clock. Pretty good. Let's do the time that I normally wake up at. Let's do 6 o'clock. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Okay, we are ready to put the glass on. And the bezel on. And what is that, a spider? Let's clean the glass a little bit here. Use some the good stuff here. Talk amongst yourselves. Here you go. Clock eye candy. Look at that balance wheel go. Okay, I'm going to place the bezel glass gently back on the dial. Try to get it centered somewhat. Spin this around. Get one of the bezel screws. The bezel screws are very large-headed flat screws like that. We're going to go ahead and get one ready here to get a screw started. Okay. Don't tighten any of the screws until they're all started. Just install them and get them snugged up. If you get them too tight, you might have to go back and loosen one off a little bit so that you can move the bezel around to get all the other screws lined up. Okay, second one went in real nice and easy. Okay. Now go around and tighten all the screws up. Install the alarm winding key. Install the time winding key. Careful not to cross thread it. It should go off. It's in repeat. It's obviously in repeat mode. You can't take it out of repeat on this clock. Alright, you heard the bell had sort of a warbling effect going on there. Probably something to do with that escape wheel on the alarm side, but I do not find that objectionable at all. And it sounds pretty good. There might be an adjustment that could be done to resolve that, but I'm not going to worry about it. So there we go. Now I've got two style 5As that are almost identical. Set the time on this. Here, this one here has a better sounding alarm on it. It doesn't have that sort of warbling effect going on. But each clock has its own little personality, and that's part of them. Said no provision for a hanger. This one has a hanger. And if you're wondering what makes what the difference between a 5A loud alarm is from just a regular 5 is a style 5 loud alarm. The movement was redesigned to make it thinner so that it would fit in the same shape of case as the style 5 chime alarm Big Bens. Anyway, that is the end of this series, and I'm glad you got to follow along if you watched all the episodes, and good luck with your Big Ben repair project. And as always, this is Oklahoma Bridges, and thank you for following along, and thank you for watching.